Harry Reid, Pat has pointed out in an opinion piece on The Blaze that he is the worst person.
The worst living.
The worst living person. He's not comparing him to Hitler.
No.
Oh, my gosh.
Or Genghis Khan.
Did you see that Hillary Clinton compared Putin to Hitler?
Yeah.
Where's Abe Foxman?
I don't know.
Where's Abe Foxman on that?
Strangely silent.
Let's not just throw around Hitler. Hitler is in a different class entirely. How dare you ever use Hitler? Hillary Clinton, you should be ashamed of yourself. Everybody today is Hitler.
Strangely doesn't seem to apply to the other side.
No, it strangely does it? But anyway, she's right on this. He has many similarities to Hitler. But he also has some things that are missing, like gassing all the Jews. Mm-hmm. But I expect that everybody is an adult to be able to realize that. But Abe Foxman never has been able to separate those two. So I'm waiting for the Abe Foxman chastisement of Hillary Clinton. I'll keep waiting. It might be a while, so let's just continue on with the show. Let's talk a little bit about Harry Reid, who is not Hitler, but Pat says the worst living human being. And I find I have a few problems with that. I might.
What? Like what?
I think,
Like what?
Anything factual, or is it just emotional?
What?
Is it an emotional thing, or is it a factual critique?
I think maybe the guy,
You're going to go
North
to Kim
Korea.
Jong-un. I addressed
that
in the article that you can read on The Blaze.
Your argument's totally shot down. He addressed
Totally
that in
shot
the article.
down. I addressed it.
Okay, so
I addressed it.
So what you're saying is you have these crazy sort of emotional feelings and you're just expressing them when he's gone through a factual analysis of the situation and come to a logical conclusion.
Okay, well,
Exactly.
I guess. Well,
and it's out there now. He needs to address it.
All right, so Harry Reid said that, and I think that I happen to disagree with Pat. I think Harry Reid is a rational, logical, spiritual.
Oh, giant?
Giant.
Perhaps?
Yes.
Yeah.
Anybody who has an 89% NARAL approval rating?
And six times 100% NARAL rating.
Yeah, because so he's got to be, he is
pro-life.
Totally pro-life.
Totally loves when babies are born.
Yeah.
Loves it.
Loves that.
Huge. Really, really wants
because
them
that's
to
how
be
you
protected.
that's how you get a 100% rating from NARAL.
Yeah.
You're a big defender of life. But anyway, he came out recently and he said that everybody who is talking about problems with Obamacare,
liars.
They're liars. So we decided to put together some audio of Harry Reid in that speech, and also some of the people who
the liars
have some problems, and you decide which one is the despicable human being. Here it is.
There's plenty of horror stories being told. All of them are untrue, but they're being told all over America. Stories made up from whole cloth. Lies.
I did believe the president when he said I could keep it. Hearing him lie to me and to the rest of the American public has been crushing for me.
Lies.
Insurers said that plan didn't comply under the Affordable Care Act. And now, in the middle of Ellie's cancer treatment, they're shopping for insurance.
Lies.
Now I'm definitely in a position where I'll be bankrupted if I get ill or seriously injured, where I wasn't before.
Stories made up from whole cloth.
The exclusion of a major provider like Seattle Children's from a major insurance network in this market is unprecedented.
There's plenty of horror stories being told. All of them are untrue.
This is an approval letter for the coverage.
Yes.
4 days later, this is a denial.
Exactly.
Lies.
I'm going to have about $9,000 more out of pocket this next coming year just because of this change. So that's $9,000 I don't have to spend in the economy anymore.
Stories made up from whole cloth.
What type of information could you get at as easily as you suggest you can?
Well, everything from hacking somebody's computer, so when you visit the website, it actually tries to hack your computer back, all the way to being able to extract email addresses, usernames, first name, last name, locations. All of those different things are available now on the website.
All of them are untrue.
Rich Guillory has some questions for healthcare.gov.
There's a possibility somebody got my personal information from your website.
A person's healthcare profile is proving to be a lot more valuable on the black market.
There's plenty of horror stories being told. All of them are untrue.
$132 a month.
And now it's what?
$325. There's plenty of horror stories being told. All of them are untrue.
A lot of people who've really been sort of screwed over by this law.
Stories made up from whole cloth.
Has the part of the website dealing with payments been built, or is it yet to be built?
The automated process for payments is still being built.
Stories made up from whole cloth.
The exchange, there is a button that says terminate. But when you go to that button, it doesn't work. And it takes you to a page that says under construction.
All of them are untrue.
We had great insurance. We had continuing care for our employees.
Great until owner Betsy Atkinson learned the policy would be terminated because it doesn't meet the requirements of the Affordable Care Act.
Lies.
We talked to a gentleman in Georgia yesterday who finally, after 2 months of trying, got enrolled on the website, but when he called the insurance company to confirm and get his card, it was told they had absolutely no record that he had the policy.
Stories made up from whole cloth.
44% of doctors in New York State say they will not accept any insurance under Obamacare.
Lies.
My story had been shared by the president. I felt like, I just felt really embarrassed that, he had quoted my story, and then come to find that the Washington Health Plan Finder, the website here in our state, had grossly miscalculated, or they're having a problem. So at least for right now, I'm not going to be getting insurance.
Stories made up from whole cloth.
She received a letter just last week telling her that her tax credit had been taken away altogether.
Lies.
After Obamacare is rolled out, we realized that we would save several $1,000s if we got divorced.
Stories made up from whole cloth.
His practice, Surgery Center of Oklahoma, will not accept any health care under the Affordable Care Act.
All of them are untrue.
How can I pay this kind of money out? It's going to take at least a second job, and praying that I would make enough on a second job just to pay for this health insurance.
All of them are untrue.
I cannot keep my plan, which I liked, but as I'm trying to decide what to do going forward, I've spent weeks with days on the phone getting confidently delivered wrong answers, conflicting information, and it's becoming quite obvious to me that a lot of agencies, almost everyone I've talked to, is having a lot of trouble figuring out the new rules.
Stories made up from whole cloth.
The website is terrible, and when I called, there was no your wait time is. It just kicked me off.
All of them are untrue.
These exchange plans will not pay us an amount that is equal to our cost of operation.
Lies.
I have actually tried to reapply several different times, trying to get my kids included, and they were still kicked off. No one seems to know how to fix the problem.
There's plenty of horror stories being told. All of them are untrue.
The Affordable Care Act could potentially force the Clay County Fire Department to provide health care to their volunteers, putting a huge burden on their already limited budget. And if that's the case, thousands of fire departments across the country would be forced to cut volunteer hours, or worse, reduce staffing.
Stories made up from whole cloth.
Millions of Americans have received their insurance cancellation notices. Here's mine.
If you like your doctor, you will be able to keep your doctor. Period.
Lies.
Stories made up from whole cloth.
That's incredible.
Isn't that something?
All of them are untrue.
Yeah.
He didn't say many of them are untrue. He didn't say some of them are untrue.
So he
said all of them are untrue. This guy
he's pathetic.
This guy is not a good guy.
He's the worst living person.
I'm not willing to go there.
Worst living human being on the planet.
I don't. What is your excuse on Kim Jong-un?
Well, you got to read the article and find out. And I think you'll find it compelling.
Find it, though?
Well, you can find it on The Blaze.
Oh, okay. TheBlaze.com?
Blaze.com, yeah.
Yeah, I see it. It's up here in the little carousel right at the top.
Yeah,
it says Pat Gray, Harry Reid is the worst
living person.
That's
living human?
That's the teaser headline. Then you click on that, and it brings up a story that says Harry Reid is the worst living human being on the planet by Pat Gray.
Can I ask you this? Is this really necessary in my show preps sheet? Uh-huh. Guess who prepares the show prep sheet for the show? Obama, evil, sarcastic douche that he is. Asked Republicans if they propose a $3 hike in minimum wage only because he proposed it. First of all, it should be opposed. So I don't know if we should. I don't think this is just a. I think there's opinion in this briefing this morning.
Where? Where's the opinion? I don't see any there in that particular headline. Obama, evil, sarcastic douche that he is, asks Republicans if they...
I don't know, now that I'm reading it, now I don't know where it was.
There's no editorializing in that, right? That's all.
Oh, here it is, because underneath it says, maybe if you tried proposing something that helped America, they said propose.
That was the right there.
I'm trying to get... I keep telling Pat, you got to let go of your anger. Anger leads to fear, and fear leads to suffering, and whatever. But you got to let go of that anger. You got to, and then I see that he's... But I will tell you this. I am a very sarcastic guy, and that's why I'm not the president of the United States. Oh yeah, is that the T-shirt there behind me? Pat Gray annoying Glenn Beck since 1989. Yes, true. I'm a very sarcastic guy, and I enjoy sarcastic humor. I love sarcasm. I love very, very dry sarcasm. You know, the drier the sarcasm, the more I enjoy it. When nobody else in the room gets it, is when I'm really laughing hard. However, I don't think that's a quality I want in the President of the United States.
Yeah.
I was thinking this morning, I don't think I have ever seen a sarcastic president before. Have you? I don't think I ever saw George, at least when it comes to political stuff. They might have made sarcastic comments on,
I don't think so.
You know, whatever, on pop culture or something like that. But I don't think I've ever seen a politically sarcastic president before. I don't think that's healthy. Could you play the audio here? Cut 800.
And this is interesting. This should not be that hard, you'd think. Because nearly 3 in 4 Americans, about half of all Republicans, support raising the minimum wage.
Stop here for a second. That's a problem with Republicans. If that is true, then you are a GOP supporter.
The minimum wage is overwhelmingly popular. Raising it.
Well, that shows that you don't that you are not, and that this again is a problem. Is it popular with conservatives? I'm about to prove my point. If it is, I'm about to prove my point on progressives are different than conservatives, because if it is popular with conservatives, then you must separate conservatives from progressives. Because if you're for
you mean separate Republic or
no conservatives. I want to know, is it popular?
Of course you separate conservatives and progressives.
No, you keep saying, oh, I'm a conservative, that's enough. No, it's not enough. Small government, anti-progressive conservatives. And you can't be for big government if you're a conservative. No, I will bet you that there are a lot of conservatives that are for the minimum wage, that don't understand. They haven't done their homework on the minimum wage. The minimum wage is a job killer.
I haven't seen any. Have you seen any polls on that?
Well, if 50% of the GOP is for the minimum wage, are you saying only 50% of the GOP is conservative?
I'd say that's probably about right.
Yeah,
really?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So those are all conservatives then that are for the.
That are not for the
I will say that there's a large information gap on the minimum wage. This is something that we talked about on a Wonderful World of Stu episode a couple weeks ago. When you say to people, do you want to raise the minimum wage? You get about a 75% approval rating on that. When you tell them that there may be some jobs lost, it goes down to 37%. That's not Republicans, that's overall. The point here is that when people realize that it costs jobs, they oppose it overwhelmingly. Even Democrats oppose it.
It's because people don't understand.
Yeah,
and you're right.
There's
and
a definite lack of understanding.
Yeah. But
it feels good, though.
Again,
you hate
hang on
to
just
say,
a second.
You know.
Again, your knee-jerk reaction, if you're right about conservatives not being progressives, your knee-jerk reaction on anything being regulated by the government should be, I'm against it. That should be your fallback point.
Yeah, but if you say to people, hey, should you pay somebody $7 an hour or $10 an hour? Almost everybody's going to say 10.
Yes,
right?
But that's not what we're asking. We're asking a minimum wage. Should the government mandate that you pay $10 or $7?
They don't think it through that much.
And this is why
they think of it as employers offering. Employers should offer $10.
I'll give you a perfect example of this, Glenn. The president's lingo for this yesterday was, it's time to give the American people a raise. That's how he was talking about it.
Yeah.
Now, that, of course, who the hell is going to oppose that? Everybody wants more money, but they do that intentionally, and it makes you feel bad if someone you're trying to take away money from the poor.
I will tell you this. While the Republicans, we're working on policy, the Democrats, and now the GOP as well, they are doing focus groups in Iowa and every place else. They are doing focus groups, mainly in Ohio. Not how do we fix our policies, what would be good, everything else. What language do we use to sell our policies? That's the only thing that anybody cares about, is how do we sell our policies? And there is something to be said, choosing the right words to be able to make people understand what you're talking about. But that's not what they're doing. They're saying giving people a raise. Well, you're leaving out information. You're leaving out important information. Yeah, give everybody a raise, great. Except that costs lots and lots of jobs. It actually hurts job creation. And so all they care about is packaging. They don't care that it's crap in the box. Wrap it up and put a pretty bow on it. That's all they care about. We have to be more than that. And if 50% of the GOP is saying, yeah, I'm for minimum wage, well, then that's a real problem, because it's not the government's job to educate you. They're good doing Common Core. It's your job to educate yourself. I actually felt really bad. I went to vote the other day. There's about half of them I didn't know. And I'm like, oh, geez, I don't know. I'm not sure which one here. That's a problem. I felt really guilty going in and voting for about half of the people because I didn't do enough of my own homework. And that's our responsibility. God can only help us once we've done all that we can do. I didn't do all that I could do. I felt guilty. Pat, of course, didn't even show up, but that's a different story. Here's Simply Safe.